I have 10 o'clock. I will call the Harrison County Commission meeting for Wednesday, June 12th, 2024 to order. If you would rise and join us in the invocation and pledge, please.
Lord Jesus, Son of David, we just ask for your presence and the Holy Spirit to be in this room today. We thank you for all the people that are here. We thank you for all that serve. We thank you for all the moms and wives and husbands and fathers that watch their sons and daughters go off in uniform every day to run in when everybody else is told to run out. We ask for their safety. We ask for the safety of the people in this room, that they have a wonderful day in their travels and return home safely to their families this evening. In Jesus' name, the one who may come back today. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you all mind, is everyone here for the baseball team that will be here? Okay. Would you mind if we went ahead and took them first? I understand there are several people that want to speak publicly. I don't want to start that. You all have to sit here. So, is that okay with you guys?
Whatever he says. I'm good.
Okay.
So yeah, we're here today seeking funds to help with our baseball field for the baseball team that we have. It's still.
Can you identify yourself, please?
Yes, ma'am, sorry. Batista Destita, I'm the head baseball coach for the 12U River Deck team. And we currently have a contract with the city of Lost Creek for the 2 fields down at the city park. We have currently, our field is field 2, and that is what we're seeking funds for to put the dirt on. To get it up to standard, so we can continue to host baseball tournaments down there at that facility, and you be able to use both fields.
How much was the
It's
request?
$3,000 to have 20 tons of field dirt bought and delivered to the facility, and then we would actually spread it ourselves. That's just to get it there.
Motion approved at $3,000.
Motion has been made to approve the $3,000. Is there any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. Is this for these fields going to be open to the public in Lost Creek?
Yes, the public has access to these fields in Lost Creek.
Okay, so they're not going to be shut off.
No,
For
no,
public
there's
use.
no gates, nothing to stop anybody. You know, we go down and pick up rocks every day for the practice. From kids going off on the field, and balls are missing that we keep down there, but buckets are missing, so public have access to it, yes.
In the city of Lost Creek, how much did they give you?
Nothing from the city of Lost Creek that I know of. I mean, they give us me personally don't have the contract with the city of Lost Creek. It's the A group below us that has it. But we actually have the field 2, they have the contract with both fields, field 1 and 2. So we actually have field 2. They've already done some work on field 1. We're looking for this for field 2.
So there is a contract between somebody and the city of
Lost Creek, yes.
Lost Creek,
Yes.
and it doesn't say anything about maintenance.
They cut the grass and do that kind of stuff, yes. I mean, but as far as the conditioning of the field, no. Not that I'm aware
But
of.
I know Lost Creek is very happy that you're there.
Yes, the mayor's very.
Yes,
happy
he
with
reached out to
everything
me.
we've done down there, the other team and everything. They just had their tournament a couple of weeks ago down there.
So where does the county fit in getting the use of the fields for this donation? We have that will be available to our Parks and Rec.
Is Lost Creek in Harrison County?
I'm just asking a question.
Well, that's your answer.
Okay,
I mean, I'm sure if we need to get Parks and Rec involved some way with Lost Creek, that won't be a problem.
is there somebody here from Parks and Rec to speak on?
No, I did not find someone from Parks and Rec to be here at this meeting today.
Anything further?
Did we deliver the dirt to Spelter and purchase all that by the county and not go out to a second source for that land dirt?
I'm not sure, I think I'll follow up with that and Andy's on vacation. That's the main question.
Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Come on.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. Okay, number one, public comment. Dawn, I see several names.
Brian Crawford.
Brian Crawford.
Yes, I would, all three men, I've got someone in front of me that wants to make a proposal. I'll come in if that's okay.
Who's the individual?
Me,
And you are?
my name's Donovan Carpenter.
I need you to step over to the
Yeah,
podium.
absolutely.
Susan, I believe you remember me from the Wallace Fire Department
Yes.
a few years back. As many people here know, Salem EMS was shut down due to an unanimous vote by council, but they were misinformed by our city manager. It came to light yesterday at the meeting that the city manager did not explore any of the further options to help save and fund EMS. I wanted to ask County Commission this morning, did our city manager reach out to you guys for possible help or options in regards to our agency prior to us being shut down?
I mean, really, we're not here for a discussion. It's public comment.
Okay.
So, I
Um,
mean, if you want to do that, you can call the office.
yeah, that's really my concern is, that we would like to seek out help from any resources that we possibly can. Thank you.
I'm Valerie Lane.
She signed up.
Yes, I did. And this is
I'm
Brandy.
Brandy Garner. We're both council members from Salem.
We're here to speak about the same thing with the Salem EMS. We're not for sure if anybody prior from our council or from city has approached the county commission asking for funds. We were asked to, or we wanted to inquire about, there was possibly some levy money that is from the county commission that is divvied up or divided up to different services within Harrison County based on calls. And or also the opioid crisis fund money, and if there was anything that we could ask from the county commission to help receive funds to help subsidize our EMS.
I do believe we have a agenda item, so maybe some of this stuff can be discussed then.
Anything else you want?
My only comment is, after looking at, some of the things that were presented last night, EMS is gonna need some help getting funded. They've also got some accounts receivable that, I have volunteered to try to help collect for them. Also, there's some other funding things that may be available once they get off and running that can get these accounts collected faster, in a more diligent way, so they don't get in this position again. But, we did find out that, there were some things that, were not disclosed to the city council that we found out last night. And, I do believe that the city manager resigned immediately and walked off. But, the EMS is very important for Salem because as you all know, Salem is a big senior citizen, center, and we need, it for the nursing home and all of us out there. And, I think that, with your blessing and some funding, we can, get this EMS up running the way it should be. And, with some oversight, we can make this thing happen.
So we would appreciate any funding or grants that you guys could lead us to, or some sort of thing like that, because we need a couple $100,000 to keep this, to get this thing going and capitalized. Thank you.
Thank you.
Spellman?
Good morning. I'm Kent Spellman. I'm a retired community development and economic development professional. I currently serve on a number of nonprofit boards working on community and economic development in the region and around the state. I'm here today to speak on behalf and in favor of the Harrison County Economic Development Corporation and its leadership, and to speak against any effort to defund that organization or to remove it as the county's lead economic development organization. Good governance requires good process. And if this commission has issues with the Harrison County Economic Development Corporation, it must articulate those issues so that they can be addressed. This can be fixed, whatever your issues are. And a fix is far preferable to destroying the organization. Good process is critical. The first step in good process is your ability to articulate what your concerns are about the organization. And if you cannot articulate those concerns, I question whether they actually exist. So I ask you, put in writing exactly what the issues are, and I can assure you that the Harrison County Economic Development Corporation, its board, its leadership, and all of us who support it will do everything we can to address those issues. But we can't address them if we don't know what they are. Thank you for your time. I hope you'll take this into consideration.
Thank you.
Minutes didn't start until I got up here. I'd say thank you, but I was a little unaware that this was even happening today. So to say that I'm surprised, I'm very surprised. I know it doesn't go back and forth, but the questions that I have, we've had several ribbon cuttings. We've had announcements. We've had projects that we, meaning the EDC and the county commission, have all worked together on. They've all been really successful projects. I've had two of you on my board for about a year. I've had at least one member of the county commission on the board since inception. Commissioner Treecost, I don't know if I know this was your item and you put this on here, but some of the questions would, I guess, be directed to you and then the rest of the board or the commission for answers later on.
Okay.
I would ask why. I had no notification at all. For what Mr. Spellman had said, you have all of our contact information. You have mine. Again, we work together on projects. We are at ribbon cuttings. We do announcements. You're invited to meetings. Email, anything, a letter, just to say we have some concerns so I can address those. Next question, what happens next? What are the repercussions of this decision? So we are defunded, we are dissolved. You want us to go away. What happens to the existing projects? What happens to the federal contracts that we have, the federal grants that we have? We have federal representatives that are here. We received calls from Senator Manchin's office, Senator Capito's office, the governor's office. Mitch Carmichael called this morning questioning what in the world is going on. I couldn't answer those questions. You've received updates. You've received, again, invites to the meetings. You've received information on projects. Some of the information may not be exactly what you want, but a quick call to clarify. I've done this before with all three of you, and I can continue to do it. Some things cannot be put in writing, but I've never said, I can't tell you that. I've at least been able to verbalize some of the things that are going on. We've even been in executive sessions telling you some of the details of these projects. I would agree with what Kent said, with you have to let us know what information you need from us, what we're doing wrong, what leadership is doing wrong, how we would go about moving forward. We have a 5-year strategic plan that we update annually. We have a 2-year action plan that we update annually. We ask for your input on those. We invite you to the meetings. We give you updates. So if this is being turned over to another board, issues that you have with the corporation, again, what happens next? I think everyone is owed that. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Mary Hunt.
Morning, Commissioners. My name is Mary Hunt. I live here in Clarksburg. I'm a retired community and economic development professional and worked in philanthropy for the last 22 years. I have a consulting firm now working in community and economic development. What I can speak to today is the experience I've had as a volunteer working in organizations here in Clarksburg and my interaction with staff of the Economic Development Corporation. And while I do not know what the issues are specifically, and I cannot speak to them, I can speak and attest to the active participation of the staff in those volunteer activities, chairing committees, actively participating, bringing the economic development knowledge to that work. And so from a on-the-ground activity perspective, my personal experience and also using the background that I've had in economic development, I greatly respect the work that they have done, respect the interface that I've had with those employees, and would support the extra consideration of that organization. Thank you.
Yeah, I told her, I said, we'll just get you an update and then she can hand it to them.
It's Tracy Miller. I'm
Yeah, that's
calling
what
in.
Dan said.
I'm not sure when I can speak, if someone will just let me know when those of us on the phone can speak.
Hang on, Tracy. Please.
Thank you.
We'll finish those that have signed up here and then we will get those on Zoom.
Okay, Rodney Strait, Mayor of Shinston. And I'd just like to say, I like to support the corporation. I think has done a lot for the county. And projects they have funded or helped fund. And working with the county commission, there's a lot of progress, especially at the airport and other areas, which has brought in jobs for all the cities, not just Bridgeport or Clarksburg, for everyone. So thank you.
Thanks.
Sean Long.
Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to come up here and say, that we support the Harrison County Economic Development Corporation. We do have a lot of development going on at the airport, and they play an integral role in that and have been a great partner with us. I can just give one quick example. We had the Benedum Logistics Park, and they were very instrumental in helping us receive $2.5 million US EDA grant. And through that, we've been able to help a existing company continue to grow, diversify their business model, and also create over 100 jobs for us. And that's just one quick example of the work that they've done with us. So I ask for your consideration when you discuss this. Thank you.
Good morning. Nice to be in these new chambers, very nice looking. Let me just, I go back in economic development to 1985, the Harrison County Development Authority, served on it. We transitioned when the FBI came to Harrison 2000. And literally, I understand, where you're coming from. But I also recognize that age brings with it some hopeful wisdom looking in the rearview mirror. But and I think all of you sitting up there, your legacy on the commission will not be seen next year. It's going to be in the rearview mirror, looking back over your careers and saying, we funded that part, a Major League Baseball player came out of that system. But this doesn't happen tomorrow. It happens in a, planned way. I've sat through in other entities in
Clarksburg, Harrison County, the state on a national basis. And economic development, when it's being done right, is always given the credit to other people. I've attended hundreds of ribbon cuttings in my career, and of the ones where I physically did every aspect of it were very few. But where somebody was working in the background and it's Mr. Hunt, if you'll go cut the ribbon here, if you'll stand here, here's how the grant was done and all of that. I've seen the work that goes quietly in the background while us politicians and the people out front take credit and we say, oh, we built the airport. We didn't. None of us sitting in the political side built the airport. We've funded it. We've direct funding. We've done a lot of hard work in boards and commissions. But people like Sean and Rick Rock and the Benedum Airport Authority, and when you look at industrial, the other folks that work quietly every day, if you see their picture in the paper too many times, they're not doing the job that you're paying your money for. Our taxpayer dollars are going to, because promotion is not economic development. It's the hard work, the networking, the integration with the state, the federal, and this. And my only fear is for $30,000, you look at it, what can you duplicate in a short period? And as I think Amy said, what's the plan going forward? Because activities that are ongoing are going to be, waylaid at least some point. And I just think, it's a tough decision to make in just a snap of a finger that puts a county that truly is the envy of West Virginia, puts us in some jeopardy because the headlines come out, not that we just announced something at the airport, but that we closed down or changed our economic strategy. Thank you very much.
Zoom now. Tracy Miller on the word.
Tracy?
Thank you all. My name is Tracy Miller, and I work for the Mid-Atlantic Aerospace Complex. I've been an economic developer since 1996 when I worked for the state Department of Economic Development under 4 governors, and then moved up north and have been doing economic development in one capacity or another, and for the last 20 years, basically with marketing and promoting our aerospace industry sector. Harrison County Economic Development Corporation needs all of us to proactively step up, roll up our sleeves, and be involved. We as a community, as Jim just said, have one of the healthiest and most diverse economic sectors in West Virginia. There truly is nothing anywhere else. I grew up my whole life in Charleston. I've spent many years as an adult living in Morgantown, and I've worked in Harrison County since 2005, and I've lived in Harrison County since 2013. There is nothing like Harrison County anywhere else in the state. The economic developers are those hardworking worker bees that are behind the scenes doing all of the things that are water and sewer and infrastructure and broadband and power and sites and all of the things that aren't always the sexiest thing to talk about. And it's moving a lot of dirt, and it's very lonely sometimes, and it's something that never ever stops. But it takes a team to work together to move the mountains that you honestly have to move, whether it's a hill or it's an honest mountain, in order to have the flat land to even get us on the radar to compare us to other states. We are constantly swimming upstream as this team to just try to get to a place where we're not using that statistic over and over, where we feel like West Virginia remains 50th in too many things. And one of the things I think we know in Harrison County is some of the statistics that are appropriate for the rest of West Virginia. If we look at our statistics as a standalone, we are so healthy because of our diverse economic sector, and it does take a village. I know how often Amy and the HEDC team reaches out to all the municipalities, all of the public-private partners, all of the federal, state, county, and city partners to ask folks to get involved. I know some folks don't have time to, I know some folks do, but it really is us. It is everyone that I think you could name that is a part of anything, whether it is someone that frustrates you, it is someone that you have a vendetta with, or it's someone that you think is doing good things in Harrison County. We've all chosen. Amy doesn't wake up and say, Tracy, I need you to do something for me today. Anything that I do with Amy is because I choose to be one of the worker bees in this hive. The calls that came to me yesterday.
Tracy, if you'd wrap it up.
Yes,
Your
ma'am.
3 minutes is ended.
Oh, thank you. This just creates instability, and we really need to work together and work through the good and the bad. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone on Zoom wish to speak publicly?
Yeah, this is Chris Lane. You guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was wanting to speak here. I noticed on the agenda was the Harrison County Development Corporation. I've heard a lot of people already speak about it, and I, as a developer, as a property owner in Harrison County, as a business owner in Harrison County, you know, I agree wholeheartedly with everything that everyone has said, from firsthand knowledge and firsthand experience working with the Development Corporation. I can tell you they're very active. They're extremely professional, not only in attracting business to the county, but in retaining business to the county. You know, there's a company that I currently lease to, UniFirst, that at one point a few years ago is actually looking to leave Harrison County because the facility that was currently occupied in was no longer going to be available to them, and they was unable to find any other location within Harrison County. If it was not for Amy and the Harrison County Development Corporation, UniFirst and all the people they employ would no longer be located in Harrison County. You know, they would be up at Fairmont, Morgantown, or would have been absorbed by their Pittsburgh location. So while I know a lot of people talks about the expansion that goes on in the county, and I believe someone said that Harrison County is the envy of the state, I think it's also noted to say that the Development Corporation does a lot for retention for existing companies that's in the county that's needing to expand or needing to relocate within the county. They do a great job at retaining those businesses. As far as working with other agencies and working with the state, they're a great tie. They're a great connection. They network really well, and they're recognized. The entire team, from Amy and everyone that's part of her staff, is recognized across the entire state as being extremely professional and a pleasure to work with. And the one thing that I've mentioned to Amy several times that I think she probably does the least is she's very far and few between. She'll seek out any recognition for the work that her and her team does. They do great work. They put a lot of hours in. They do hard work, and rarely do they get full recognition. She's always the first one to offer the credit and the recognition to someone else. So how and why this got put on the agenda baffles me, but it's I guess it's disheartening to see that such an organization like this that benefits our county and benefits our community is even being considered for dissolution. So,
Thank you, Chris.
that's all I have.
Thank you. Anyone else on Zoom wish to speak publicly?
This is Andy Lang. I'd like to have my turn.
Sure,
Are you ready now?
I'm ready. We're ready,
Okay.
I believe.
Okay, I just want to agree with everyone that spoke so far, and I want to really thank everybody that stepped up to come and join in on this meeting to get our point across. Harrison County Economic Development Corp is about jobs, and it's also about an organization that's taken many, many years to build on. And with that building has come many, many relationships with the ability, and Amy said it, to call Capito's office, Manchin's office, soon to be Justice's office, so on and so on, the development office in Charleston, Matt Bohr, work with all these different surrounding county development groups. Those relationships take a lot of time and it's centralized in one group. It's also a central group for information for the county. Developers or people that want to come here are not going to pick the phone up and call Clarksburg for information about Clarksburg, and then what does the county have to offer, then call the power company, and then call this. This is a group that when they make the phone call, the information is gotten, or Amy searches it out and gets it to them. I don't know how we'll ever duplicate that. I think it's a step backwards. What I would really ask to do is for the county commission in its budget, I believe someone was quoted as saying they give $80,000. I believe I looked at your budget there this year, and there was $80,000 budgeted for the Harrison County Economic Development Corporation. I would urge you to give the full 80 instead of the 30 that we're discussing today. That full 80 could be used to put another person on, which would really enhance the organization's ability to do a lot of stuff. I also want to make a quick comment about the LED grant. I think it's a very important to understand that the county, each county in the state is allowed to designate an organization as the lead economic development corporation or lead economic development group. That has a special designation. So when people see that, they know they're talking to the group that can get things done. And I think that's very important that we continue to have that. And once again, I'm always willing to meet with anybody. I've never had a one-on-one with a few of you before. I've never had an email over your concerns, but I urge you to support us more. And I urge you to call me and Amy, and let's get together every other month and get a one-on-one update if that's what you want, to keep you guys in the loop of what's going on. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
Hi, John Nardelli with Healthy Harrison. If I can make a quick comment.
Go ahead, John.
Am I good?
Yeah.
I just want to reiterate the importance of the Harrison County Economic Development Corporation. We've been fortunate enough with Healthy Harrison to partner with the Economic Development Corporation to promote health. As many of you know, we rank last in the country as far as health outcomes in West Virginia. And furthermore, Harrison County ranks about 31st in counties. And so, not only are we advocating for good and positive change with health, we also want to bake that into the economic development and economic environment, because when companies look to come here, they really want to make sure that we have healthier communities, because as it relates to the things that are being said to us in the national news, it doesn't look good. And so from the start, the Harrison County Economic Development Corporation has worked hand in hand with us to promote healthy, positive things that are happening in the community. That includes our podcast. That includes Amy has personally got me in front of several business owners to talk about the importance of health within their own businesses. And they are continuing to advocate our mission through their mission of economic development and growth and health outcomes. So I just want to reiterate, not only are they making a direct impact as it relates to their own mission, but they've also reached out to other organizations that strengthen the economic impact that's being made and done. And so I do think not only it would be a direct blow to the Economic Development Corporation, but it would also directly impact other organizations that they've worked so hard to develop relationships with. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on Zoom that wishes to speak publicly? Anyone else on Zoom wish to speak publicly? And there's no one else signed up, correct? Thank you all for your information. I appreciate it. Okay, we'll move to number 2, the consent agenda. What's the pleasure?
Motion approved, please.
Motion to approve consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. We have payroll changes A through D. What's the pleasure?
Motion approved A through D.
Motion to approve number 3, A through D. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 4, minutes and or amended minutes of previous meetings, A and B. What's the pleasure?
Move to approve minutes A and B as presented.
Motion to approve minutes A and B as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 5, requisitions, purchase orders, and invoices as shown on A, vendor list of payments. What's the pleasure?
Motion to approve our vendor list and pay.
Motion to approve vendor list of payments. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None, motion carried. We have no exonerations, corrected tickets, or joint applications. Probably. Okay, number 6, nothing. Consideration of approval of a project fund requisition for payment of costs associated with the project to be financed from proceeds of the Series 2019 bonds issued for the Charles Point Economic Opportunity Development District Series 2021 A and B, Development District Number 3, White Oaks Project Number 2, Series 2008A, Charles Point Project Number 2, Northland Bay Improvements. We have A through C. What's the pleasure?
Motion to approve A through C, please.
Motion to approve 7A through C. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 8, review, discuss, consider for adoption a resolution in order regarding the setting of a public hearing date with respect to the proposed extension of the termination date for the tax increment financing district in Harrison County designated the County Commission of Harrison County Development District Number 2, Charles Point, the TIF district, and approving the form of public hearing notion to be published. Notice, I think that should, to be published in connection with the same and matters relating thereto. Potential executive session pursuant to 69A4B9 to consider matters involving affecting the purchase, sale, or lease of property, advanced construction planning, the investment of public funds, or other matters involving commercial competition, which if made public might adversely affect the financial or other interests of the county. What's the pleasure?
Madam President, direct the county administrator to put a public notice in the newspaper the 13th of this month and to come back with this for a public hearing on the 17th of July and to take action.
So that's your motion to,
Get it out to the newspaper for 30 days. Please. And then have it come back on the 17th meeting in July so that we can have the public petition and take action on it.
okay. Motion's been made to direct the county administrator to get a notice out on the 13th of this month for a public hearing to be held July 17th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. I see Trey's not here. I didn't have a chance to get with all the proper people, but I need to know if Mr. Treecost needs to recuse himself from this vote due to his involvement with the owner accepting our donation for his election. Also, that I see another person that works for the company here today that made a donation, and he held a fundraiser with the owner of this property and this property. And I need to know if Mr. Treecost should be able to vote on this due to potential issues with finances being paid to him. Secondly, Mr. Treecost at some point met with the Metro News and had a long discussion with them on why this is good, and I'd like for him to go over that today to explain to the citizens why we're going to vote to extend this TIF and for what reason we're going to do it. So first is, does Mr. Treecost have the ability to vote on this? And so I'm waiting for that answer from Mr. Treecost, if he thinks so, or if somebody legally thinks that he has the right to be able to vote on this decision. If not, I think it needs taken, so that can be given to us. And while we're doing that, Patsy, can you please, we're very talkative on Metro News on how this is gonna benefit the county. Yeah, I don't know if all the citizens got that opportunity, but we have a lot of business people here today, and maybe you could re-go over that, radio that you did and explain to us why this is a good idea and what we're gonna benefit from it. And maybe you can answer some questions, or Tom can answer some questions, or Mr. Christie can answer some questions on this subject of why we're gonna extend. The developer just got an $11 million loan from the state. Some money gonna be used to pay that loan off. I got lots of questions why we're even considering it and if it's needed, but I don't see anybody here today to answer those questions. And you seem to be the spokesman because you were on the radio telling everybody it's a great thing. So could you please expand? Are they going to use the money to pay their loan back? Are we gonna give them more money when we do this, or are they just gonna pay off existing debt? Just what are we doing by giving them the right to extend? Jim? Tom, you're our lawyer. This is part of what you do. What are they asking for?
So it's not really a resolution that I prepared for the commission.
Excuse me?
It's not a resolution that I prepared for the commission. I haven't reviewed it. So I don't know
You
that
have reviewed it?
I have not reviewed it.
So why are we voting on something that our attorney hasn't reviewed?
So I would suggest it might be best to hear from the developer about what's being proposed. If they want to speak to that.
I'm even more confused. This is not your resolution. You've not approved it. I mean, because I don't know I don't remember sitting down in this commission discussing just exactly what's going on up there. And why it's going to, I think it was what, 98 million in this proposal that they're talking about?
So the
96, I'm sorry.
I think the existing property TIF bonds are about 32, 33 million. And then the sales tax bonds are about 50 million outstanding. So the 98 million, I think, was the total amount of bonds that were authorized to be issued for Charles Point.
And that's just to pay off existing debt.
Well, I think that's the amount that the development office had approved for the county commission to issue for Charles Point.
Who approved?
The development office in 2005.
When did
So
I've
this,
never been advised
this was when the district was originally created.
okay, we said that they could.
There was a certain amount
you
that
were
was
saying they
applied
were-
for and that the development office authorized to be issued. And that, I think that amount was about 96 or 98 million.
And
That
does that
was,
pay off the deferred taxes?
does that pay off the deferred taxes? So
I mean,
that,
Patsy, does that pay off the deferred taxes, what we're gonna do today? I'm asking. I mean, you're the one that's said, let's do this. You made the motion. You were on the radio. I'm guessing you are our expert on the commission. Does it pay off the deferred taxes and pay off our taxes that he owes? And does it pay off the $11 million loan that he just got from the state of West Virginia that's due in 13 years? So I'm hoping that you can tell Susan and I why we're doing this, or tell these people why we're doing this. Because hopefully it doesn't have anything to do, and I hate to apply this, that you've got people that supported you for your election, and here we sit today, 3 weeks afterwards, making decisions on Harrison County tax dollars. And I haven't heard you say no.
so that if, would you like to hear from me on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the resolution would relate to starting, as I understand it at least, would relate to beginning the process to extend the Charles Point Property TIF district by 15 years. That would only create an opportunity for the commission, working with the existing bondholders, to either restructure those bonds, to come to an agreement as to, when we were running numbers in different scenarios last summer, we were not able to produce a scenario that showed the bonds being completely repaid in full.
Correct, but we couldn't make.
So therefore, based upon at least the information that I have, there would need to be a discussion and a resolution with the existing bondholders for them to agree to write down a certain amount of bonds that are owed to them in order to be able to restructure the bonds and remove the lien that the existing bondholders have. So
Nancy, do we have that? Susan, do we have that?
I'm not sure that you need that right now. Is that what you're saying, Tom?
So this would be a step in the process. If the 15 years could be accomplished, that would create an opportunity to re-amortize the existing bonds, restructure them with the consent and working with the existing holder for them to hopefully agree to write down some of those existing bonds.
So we're putting the
Hopefully.
cart before the horse. We haven't talked to the bondholders. And we haven't looked at what it's gonna take to restructure and how much it's gonna get done, but we're gonna go out and go ahead and get approval for an extension and then go back to the bondholders and see if they like it.
So I have had a discussion with their attorney regarding this. He said that he believed that the holders would be agreeable to the extension.
Please,
Yes,
we don't have that in writing.
I don't have that in writing. That he believes that the holders would be agreeable to it, but that agreement would be conditional on coming to some resolution with the city of Bridgeport on their also being agreeable either to the terms of the extension or the terms by which the bonds would be restructured. Because that holder does have a concern about potential challenge by the city.
Again, we're putting the cart before the horse. We don't have an agreement with the city of Bridgeport. We don't have an agreement with the bondholder. Nobody can tell me that we do this, whether it's to pay back money that the developer borrowed from the state. I don't see a lot of answers, how we're gonna get our back taxes. Are our taxes gonna be paid up? Are we gonna have to defer taxes again this year?
So the property taxes actually do get paid every year,
They do, but we defer
but the
the
assessments.
assessments.
And so one can't be paid without the other. And so we do have several years of forbearances on the CED assessments. And so those are currently due and payable, became due and payable on April 1.
They have not been paid.
Not to my knowledge. So we would need, the county would need an agreement, another agreement with the holders to continue that forbearance. And that's a discussion that certainly has been had, but needs to continue and to get resolution on that. So that's a part of all this. But this would certainly be one piece of the puzzle. If it could be successfully achieved, it creates the opportunity to restructure the bonds.
We can do that at any point. We know that the potential's there to do it.
Part of the problem is it does take time to put this in place. Probably 3 to 6 months to get all the approvals that are necessary to put the 15-year extension in place. So I believe part of the thinking behind this is to get that piece of it done so that if there can be agreement on the other issues, that time is saved and not having to then start that process at that time.
Who has to approve this extension on the state level?
The Secretary of the Department of Economic Development.
So in 6 months, we know that potential is if it's not pushed in before then, there'll be all new people in those offices in Charleston.
there's certainly potential for that. Yeah,
And a lot of time's been spent courting those people.
there has the existing folks.
Yes. So they, evidently, they
I-
gave him $11 million, and I understand. And it's public information, as far as I know, is that the state's considering buying these bonds.
So I have not been a part of those discussions.
So as our representative, you haven't been part of those discussions.
I
I'm
have,
just totally confused what we hired you for, and I'm not mad at you, but you didn't go over this resolution. You didn't write this resolution. We hired you, what, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago or a month ago to be our negotiate and to do this. Have you not
So-
been made privy to all this stuff that's going on?
so I don't necessarily have to be involved in all, obviously the developer has a relationship with the department. And I don't need to necessarily be involved in everything that they're doing. They have,
But they
Yeah.
are bonds at this county.
but they are bonds
So
at
I
this.
think we would be involved
Well-
as the lender.
But with respect to the loans that they had gotten from the state, I mean, not necessarily, that's really not directly germane to what we're doing with the bonds. It's related, certainly. So I guess what I could say is there has been an offer extended by the city of Bridgeport, whereby, as I understand the offer, they would agree to the 15-year extension and provide a consent for that under the term in which, for that additional 15 years, their property tax revenues would not be a part of the increment that's associated with repaying the bonds.
Those have been presented to this commission.
Well, I wanted to see if as your representative, I wanted to see if that offer would be at least agreeable to the other parties before presenting that as an option to the commission.
But I think that you'd want to see if we were agreeable to it.
And I certainly would, yes, absolutely. But if the other parties aren't agreeable to it, it doesn't really do any good to present it as an option.
Maybe we could talk to the other parties, but we don't know what that agreement is. I just feel like this commission, or at least some of us, are left out of a lot of what's been going on for all these parties. Considering we're the ones that technically agreed 30 years ago and 8 years ago, 15 years ago to grant these bonds for this development. We did a property tax. We said in 30 years, the county and everybody would be getting their money back. Now we're not. We're going to extend that another 15. So sheriff's department, school boards, whoever levies, I don't know who all's involved, but we're going to kick the can down the road for 15 years. We kicked the can 4 times for taxes. And now we're going to try to give them another 15 years. And if I understand the state legislators, the law, they can come back and ask for another 15 or they cannot.
Not under the current law.
Under the current law, so they're gonna get 15 years. And what do we get for extending it? We gave them the money originally to develop 60 flat acres up there with roads and water and sewer, and we got 40. We got 20 acres of flat land with a giant hill put on it. And they are paying to remove that dirt. And still have to put the utilities in. Why was the county, when we agreed to this money, not given our 60 acres that were developed? Have you looked into why that didn't happen for us?
I have made inquiries of the developer with respect to that.
And can you come and explain to us why we did not get 60 acres and why we should believe that if we extend that it'll happen? And maybe Patsy can help me understand when we agreed, because he said in the meeting, we paid for 60, we got 40. So should we still
I'm trying to understand why we're doing this when we still have the rest of the 20 acres that weren't done.
So my understanding of the developer's position is that is it 56 net acres? I can't, where's Jane? 50, what was the net acreage that Charles Point Crossing was originally going to end up at? Yeah. Okay, so
Well, that's what was built. That's what
The-
we were told to get built. Yeah.
so my understanding of the position is that if the funding could go so far as to create the 60 net acres, then that would be done. But that the cost of the project, it was in an escalating cost environment. And
That's the
so,
developer to cover that. I don't have any sympathy there. You guys can argue it. We do it did it at the airport. We had cost increase. We absorbed it as a developer. You guys took your flat land and turned it into a trash pile. Sir, you're not recognized. If these two want to recognize it. Listen, I ran for this office and the people of this county elected me, not you. So
There's no need to have.
if you
this.
make an outbreak like that again, I'm gonna ask the deputy to remove you. So,
that's my understanding is that the bond issue was to create the possibility of ending up with 60 net acres at Charles Point Crossing. But once the projects were actually bid and the work was being done, the funding could not be extended that far. So the decision was made to do the front 20 acres and then the Menard parcel, basically. And
you
to
ain't aware of
eventually, yes.
that after. Was the
In my
bonding
view-
company made aware of that?
Eventually, yes.
You keep saying the word eventually. That's a very good way to ignore yes and no. I watch a lot of C-SPAN. I understand how your answer's coming right at the moment.
Yeah.
Because I was at the meetings when the bondholder said they thought they had 60 acres, didn't realize they had that.
So you have all the answers to these questions.
I'm trying to find out how we got here, Susan, and why we're extending
We've been
the
talking
ability.
about the extension for a long time.
We haven't talked about why we're doing it and what we're getting out of it. And you guys just want to extend it. I'm done. I'd say my motion's to table it till we get our answers and that our attorney gets a chance to read the agreement.
Madam President. Just to amend my motion is to have the county administrator to put it in the newspaper tomorrow, the 13th. Come back for a public hearing on the 17th and have a decision made on the 17th. Based on the overwhelming legislative vote and governor's signature that allowed us to do this today by law. Thank you.
Can I add one thing to this? Because I think it's relevant to the motion. The bondholder's attorney asked me to pass along that they would want, if the extension is going to be done, they would want me to handle the legal work on it and the procedural issues, or they wouldn't feel comfortable relying on it.
Tommy,
So-
I appreciate that, and I appreciate that if that's what the bond holders want, they need to come stand right there and make that request to the commission. I am tired of this whole affair being done at a distance by all these entities, and nobody ever actually comes and talks to us. There's no reason those people, for the amount of money that we're sitting here talking about, if it's that important to them for what you just requested, to come and explain to you and this commission exactly what we're being asked to do. And I'm fine if that's what they want you to do it, but I'm tired of getting secondhand information. And And Mr. Treecost talks about how the governor signed this, that, yes, the governor did sign a 15-year extension. Don't argue that. The governor didn't say that we had to be done with our money when he signed it. And to give it away and not make sure that the citizens of this county got the best deal out of it. And that's what we're charged with. And that's in statute to pass it. And my final is, I still do not think that you can vote, and I want to have on the record that I am challenging Mr. Treecost's ability to vote on this project going forward, and I will ask our attorney to seek a legal opinion.
Would you tell Mr. Zimmerman why you, because he was not here?
That's not my fault. He can read the minutes.
What would you like for me to tell you?
We just appreciate the courtesy, Commissioner Hinkle. You all changed the meeting time last week. I've been in court next door. I literally ran over here to get to your meeting. So I would certainly appreciate the courtesy of an explanation, pardon me, from you, since you've made the request.
I'm more than happy to set a meeting up with you.
Madam President, would you do the courtesy for both of us to reiterate what Mr. Zimmerman, what Mr. Hinkle said?
Mr. Hinkle questioned the fact that a couple individuals from the developer's office or the developer have donated to Mr. Treecost's campaign fund. Who did?
And supplied a place to hold his campaign fundraiser.
My question is, are we able to get this in the paper tomorrow?
Why? Let's see, what's the hurry?
I'm asking Laura if she knows if it can get it to the paper and in the paper tomorrow. I kind of don't think that can happen, but
Again, I'm asking, what's the hurry? I think I deserve that answer. If we're worried about it being in the paper tomorrow, why are you worried about it in the paper tomorrow?
Why? I'm not worried about it in the paper, and I'm not, I mean,
Just
I'm
have
ready.
to
I'm
make
ready
sure it
to-
got in the paper tomorrow.
Okay, the motion is on the floor.
You don't want to tell these people why?
No, I just want to make sure
You
the
heard that.
date.
She doesn't care if you know why.
That's not what I said.
Yes, it is.
You're putting word, I'm, okay, I'm not even going to
Call the question.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
No,
Okay, motion carried.
Just so the record's clear, was that with or without Mr. Amon's recommendation?
I don't believe.
that's not part of the agenda, sir. The agenda is just to put it on the paper.
Okay, number 9, review, discuss, consider administrative contract for EDA grant with Region 6.
Madam President, we manage a.
Excuse me, who put this on the agenda?
I had two commissioners.
I asked who put this on the agenda.
Tell everybody the whole story.
Yeah.
I just want to know who put it on the agenda. And that whenever I put something on the agenda, I'm asked to speak to it. So whoever put it on the agenda, I would like for them to speak to it. That's their agenda item. Who placed it on the agenda? You or a commissioner?
Your commissioner put it on the agenda last.
And one asked for it to be removed.
One expert.
So the one that asked to keep it, I'm waiting to hear why we kept it. When it was my agenda item originally. So why did you keep it?
All the credit
Did
to
you keep it or did Patsy keep it?
I never knew you even had made it an agenda item. I knew all I knew is I had made it an agenda item.
Okay, Laura, you want to finish your,
Well, then, it's your agenda item. Please explain why it's on the agenda.
to discuss?
I'm,
I mean,
what's
I'm
Mr.
not-
Treecost want to discuss about this item? I don't want, Laura's not here to discuss it. Patsy is. He wanted it on the agenda. Don't slough it off on her. Tell us why it's here. I do it. Susan does it. It's your item. You just want me to make a motion to table it? I make a motion to table it for the lack of conversation.
Motion's been made to table. Any discussion? I mean, I know I had questions on this, but,
I do too.
Okay.
We're gonna get.
okay. All in favor of tabling signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those
No.
opposed? No. Okay. Will we please know what's going on with item number 9?
It's Patsy. Please explain to us why you asked for it to be on the agenda. You just said you were gonna talk about it.
I will.
I'm listening.
Madam Administrator. Would you please continue? Thank you.
Madam Administrator. Did Patsy Treecost place this on the agenda?
Yes.
Did he tell you why he wanted it on the agenda?
That's,
Did he tell you what you were supposed to say today?
no.
No, I have stuff to add because I was part of the conference call yesterday, so I have information about it.
So from that conference call, you know that it does not matter anymore?
I do, that's what I was about to say.
Does Mr. Treecost know that?
I haven't really talked to him.
So you haven't told Mr. Treecost anything that went on from that meeting yesterday on an agenda item that he passed?
I told him we had a meeting, I did not tell him details.
And he didn't inquire? Interesting. I'm not sure why we're discussing it then. So I think it's about a 2-second explanation.
Real quick background, if the documents that was asked for last week were not turned in, that's why we wanted it back to discuss it. About the tenant agreement and the Bridgestone agreement. Well, that really doesn't matter at this point, that's what I was gonna say from the conference call that we had, yesterday. That what's gonna happen is all the money, from my understanding, will be going into construction. And then the engineering, the administrative fees and everything will be an agreement between, and the corporation will be paying for those items.
I think we can just make it simpler that there will be no contract between the county and Region 6.
Correct.
Okay,
And
so that's what we're here to discuss. So Patsy, what you want to do? There's no contract between Region 6 and the county commission. So what do you want to keep talking about?
trying to just add a few more things that I think are important details to this. As of yesterday, we thought that we had to have an agreement with Region 6 for this. Getting on the call and having us openly talk, I mean, we have Cole from Thrasher, we have Amy, Brian from the federal government. We were able to work it out where we, the county commission, does not have to have an agreement with Region 6, that it would be the corporation and Region 6. And what the commission would hopefully do, if you so choose to, is to write a letter to the federal EPA asking that we switch this grant from us to the Harrison County Economic Development Corporation. And in turn, they would write a letter stating the same, that they're willing to accept this grant, and in that way it transfers out of us, transfers to the corporation, and then we don't have to enter into any kind of administrative agreement, same thing with Region 6 or the engineering agreement with Bradford.
Sounds like an agenda item for next meeting. So again, what are we talking about on the contract, Patsy?
Well, then I guess from what I understand and what what the administrator said and what I've gathered on my own is that all grant funds are now used for construction. The corporation will be responsible for the 33% match. And all remaining administrative costs plus the engineering costs. And then the word that I was told was that the fear from the federal government is that suspension of action taken by the suspending office official or temporarily disqualify the contract from the government, because right now what we have a situation with the board is that, you know, under federal law, you know, we have the same engineering firm cannot be the pre-construction and cannot turn around and design and build and use for the grant funding. So they have to get this organization, we have to step away totally, because it turns out that on January 13th, 2021, we were told as a commission in an emergency meeting that we were gonna apply for $3.5 million worth of grants with a 20% match, and that we would then be reimbursed as a county for $1.4 million from a financial institution to cover that, so that the taxpayers wouldn't be on that hook. What has happened is here we are 3 years later, and it turns out that we are not legally allowed to even be the collateral for the $1.4 million, and that's federal law. Also, what it turns out is that on the application that was filed 20 days later by the Development Corp was actually for $4 million, not 3.5 as we voted on and agreed. And it was a 33% match instead of a 20% match as we agreed. And we never did get the financial collateral for the money that we weren't legally allowed to put up in the first place. So what we'll do, our following meeting, is we're going to write a letter asking that the federal EDA to change the grant from Harrison County Commission to the Corps. It will be on, and then that way we can vote, pass it to them, and then our taxpayers will, the corporation, as stated by many people in the public hearing, will have full control over this, and the commission, who has really no authority over the board anyway, other than its one seat, will be not on the hook for any of this. So we wish the corporation well, and we hope that they get the building and a company in there and create more jobs. So.
I have the head of the Development Corp here. Do you wish for the county commission to continue down the route that Mr. Treecost just said? Do you wish to take this grant in? Because I don't think your board has voted to do this.
Well, David, really, I really don't, I'm not a part of that board.
I'm asking the head of the development.
Okay, go ahead.
Commission, it is the intent of the corporation to take over the grants once we receive deed on the property. Now, we have deed and pay for the property. It is the intent to have the award as well.
And how long did it take us to get the deed? And was the deeds recorded without payment? Have we made that payment to Development Corp, so we're square with the county?
And we appreciate you doing that yesterday. So I'll again ask the administrator to please put this on next meeting's agenda so that we can allow the corp to do as the corp wants to do moving forward with this particular agenda item and resolving any questions that we have from the January 13th, 2021 meeting.
So there's really no action to be taken on number 9.
No.
Okay.
So we're just no action, not tabling, that it's done.
Yeah,
We have no authorization to do anything anyway.
there'll be a new agenda item, I assume, for the letter that needs to go at some point. At least that's what I'm taking from all this. Thank you. Okay, number 10, review, discuss, consider selling property would be listed A through H. Building at 420 Buchanan Pike. Some 15.6 acres on Murphy's Run, Peddler's Run, 279 property, Pepsi Ball property, 884 Junkins Avenue, 70 Copeland Avenue, 60 Walton Street, and 140 Fleming Street.
And if I may, Madam President, I love saying this, Jim. I learned this all from you. I can't thank you enough that we were tearing down dilapidated structures in Harrison County with a municipality attitude that you started here in Clarksburg, West Virginia, that has spread all over the state of West Virginia. And thanks to my colleagues up here, we are now doing that in a county way. And this year we will tear down 44 structures in Harris County, West Virginia, and then put that property up for sale, one way or the other. If we're blessed, the state owns it, because that means all the liens fall off of it. And we will continue to see blight go away and continue growth in our city. And thank you for everything that I understand about this. I admit you taught me and schooled me well in this, and it's awesome.
However, I want to include under A that to sell that, we will have a 5-year renewable lease with rent not to exceed $3,500.
Well, let's just start down through them. A. Does everybody know what A is?
It's the old 911 building.
And we're going to sell it for what?
And that's what we need to discuss, how we're gonna do this. It's been a parade.
Been a parade.
Okay, but we can only auction it.
Right.
Or you gotta transfer title to another entity and let them sell it. And they can list it with a realtor. So first off, with all these properties, do we want to auction, or do you want to transfer ownership into the building commission and let them handle it? Because you have only 3 people to deal with and get it done through the building commission. And let them hire a realtor. Or are we gonna auction these off? We don't seem to have much luck on auctions, so that's up to you.
I
What
like
do you
that.
wanna do?
I like the idea of auctioning off. It gives everybody a chance. So
And put it on the market, doesn't?
you asked me what I want to do.
Okay, so building A is gonna be on the market. It's been appraised for 850,000.
See if I could send the appraisal back out, but if you want to match with that.
And why are we having a lease for $3,500?
Well, we need a garage.
So at the end of 5 years, we're gonna have money set aside to build a garage. We're gonna take the sum of sell money and build a garage.
You know, if you'll work with me and Susan, maybe we can put a comprehensive plan where we say, put money aside every year in the budget, and are able to do it.
So we're gonna sell them then. So what percentage of the money from the sale you gonna put towards the new garage?
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
I said we could work together and over
So
a 5-year
what's the
period.
money from the sale of the building?
That's to be determined
By who?
by the 3 of us.
By the 3.
Mhm.
So Mark, we have a work session in a few weeks so we can discuss where this money's going, requested work session. So we're gonna set the price at what? 860, 850? We don't pay any cost. What for number one, pay,
You don't pay any cost.
we don't pay any cost.
How
We're
much-
not gonna pay we're not paying anybody anything. Person wants to buy it, we'll pay everything.
How many dollars do you think in requisitions you and I have signed in the past 6 years for this building, Commissioner?
Again,
I'm asking you.
I have not a clue. I know we put a new air conditioning stuff in it, the roof. I don't know why we're selling it. We need storage and we need a garage. I'm trying to understand again, who's leveraging us to sell it and why we're selling it, but
There's no leverage. It's just-
850 is fine with me. No, we pay no cost. We don't pay the auctioneer a penny. Buyer pays both sides. Our goal is to clear as much money as we can, so we want to set 850,000 for it.
Do we want to have a work session to discuss all these properties and then go from there?
No, you two can do that. I'm not gonna do that. I'm ready to put them out to auction now. Everybody knows, unfortunately, Commissioner Hinkle doesn't know where this building's at. I think everybody else.
Oh, I know where it's at. I just want the public to
And,
understand
and the
what you're
reason
selling.
we need it is because we need the garages because we fix our vehicles there.
But why do we need the money? Can you tell us that?
Well,
Is it for rail trails?
I feel like I'm in a tennis match.
Yeah, yeah.
I just trying to get questions answered. I mean, we're up here talking about selling all these properties.
Well, you think you know the answer, but
No,
you're,
I
yes,
don't.
you do. Yes, you do.
I'm not,
Yes, you
Is
do.
there, you know,
Not a
Oh, my
clue.
gosh.
and to auction it off and to sell these properties would generate tax revenue for all A through H for us. If a private individual.
We don't need all
Wait a
these
minute.
properties.
Wait a minute. I bet if we looked up the quarry, I bet Rocky, well, you got $100 if the actual value for that, that's gonna be a big tax on.
Yeah, but what's,
We're down to, I mean, I'm just trying to, you guys, Patsy, you asked us, who put this one on the agenda? Patsy or Susan? Okay, well then why is it so hard for them to give us an answer on what we're selling them for?
because we don't own land.
Okay, but you didn't go and you put these on the agenda, you didn't have a price in mind for each one of them?
We got them all appraised.
So the quarry's been appraised, 279 has not been appraised, has it, Laura?
Now we're using the appraisal number
From the airport, yeah, but we're talking what now, 4 years old, 5 years old, 4 years old? So, an appraisal for Buchanan Pike's a year old.
Hey, Madam President. I'll make the motion to go ahead and put out for appraisal A through H, please. Not appraisal for auction, A through H, please.
Okay, the motion's been made to put number 10, A through H out for auction.
Thought he said appraisal.
No, I said H.
He misspoke. Any further discussion?
Yes, ma'am, I'd like to, have an appraisal on all these properties so that we know what to auction them. I'm trying to understand how we're gonna hold an auction when we don't know the value. I want you to tell everybody out there how that works, Patsy, that you sell something that you are not setting a price.
Is there anything that's not appraised, Madam Administrator? Everything on A through H has been appraised?
No,
I believe you agree the houses that we added and not that appraised.
the Junkins Avenue's been appraised. I wasn't given that appraisal of Copeland Avenue, Walton. Epsabal. And the 279 is 4 years old.
It's 79, the last time we tried to get an auctioneer to appraise that. We did an auction-
Why would we ask an auctioneer to appraise property?
Appraisal for real estate.
Well, that might have been the group that did it.
I'm sorry, for that.
It might be how it was approached, everything that can get appraised. How'd you get, Buchanan Pike appraised? You called somebody? Okay, did you call anybody directly for the 279 property? Excuse me?
Yeah.
And they all said no? Or it was a time issue?
I remember being in time issue, I remember not being able to get it done.
Okay, I just want to make for the record that you all understand today that we're gonna auction A through H with no value and no set price.
Yeah, it's
So
gonna be auctioned at zero.
bring your money.
I'm
to
sure
be
you
able
all
to buy.
understand what's going on. So the motion has been made. All in favor? Signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Oh, geez.
I didn't figure you would.
I didn't figure, Susan, that you would agree to sell stuff for no set price. I just was shocked. I hope that you never sell your house the way we just sold this.
I'm not planning on selling my house.
That's good.
Yep, it
because
is,
they
because I know I probably would be dumb enough to sell it for $1. Okay. But no, you know what? I'll call you and you can help me out. How's that?
Believe me, I'll get you the best deal.
Oh, I bet you will. Number 11, review, discuss, consider resignation and formal withdrawal of the Harrison County Commission from the Harrison County Economic Development Corporation and termination and formal revocation of the February 25th, 2016 resolution, which appointed the Harrison County Economic Development Corporation as the lead development organization for Harrison County, West Virginia.
Motion to remove item 12 from the agenda.
Motion to remove item 12.
11, I'm sorry.
Item 11 from the agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
No. What's the pleasure?
Okay. I'd like that discussion.
Well, I don't have a motion to discuss.
Good.
Madam President, I'll make the motion to remove the Harrison County Commission as member of the Harrison County Economic Development Corporation and discontinue the funds, supporting as we have a line item in the budget, and dissolve our resolution to designate the Harrison County Economic Development Corporation as lead economic development organization for Harrison County. We're not dissolving. We're just taking away our line item and asking to be removed from our seat, Madam President, and we will appoint someone else as our lead economic developer from this point on. That's the motion on the floor.
Okay, I'm not going to try to repeat that. But basically a motion is to remove Harrison County Commission from the Harrison County Economic Development Corp. And they would not be the lead development organization for Harrison County, and no more payments would be made. Is that correct? Okay. I have something I want to discuss. I want you all to know how I feel. I will tell you what I'm upset about. And yes, I was on the board and I asked for information and I never got the information that I asked for. I asked a couple times. This agreement, the information we got from the development court was not what was, I don't think it was the proper documentation that we should have received, but that got worked out. But I am thrilled that everybody came here today and spoke. I've had several calls, several texts. But I don't want to dissolve it. I don't want to walk away from it altogether. I would like to, we've got to have some communication. I think Andy's idea of an update every time, and I would like to see the authority, for some reason, we got the corp and the authority like this. I don't understand why. I don't know if it's egos. I don't know what it is, because I do sit on the authority. And I've seen it from both sides. There's got to be a way that those two entities can work together for the betterment of Harrison County. Do you think that's a problem? Those of you that are on the board here,
Yes, ma'am.
why?
Because they're public, and when this was originally set up, if you'll go back through the records, it was discussed that the authority would be dissolved and the Development Corporation would be the only recognized. Yes, it can. We can
How?
dissolve
Is it
both.
not required to have?
No, ma'am.
I'm not asking you,
Okay.
David, please, because you may change my mind real fast.
So the power to create typically gives the power to dissolve, just like with Parks and Rec, what we did before. So I would agree with Commissioner Hinkle.
That we can dissolve the authority.
Yes, ma'am.
By the statute.
Did I ask you?
I'm sorry.
Don't put words in his mouth. It's my turn.
My volley's just slower in the tennis match, okay? But yes, you can do it if you want to.
And I will continue that the reason that it wasn't
you know, you had a loan, but it was it didn't meet what we needed. And I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for the commission. Because I've done some soul searching with this. But I would like to see us let them stay in place and try to work this out. I mean, I don't want this to become personal. I think, I mean, and I don't want to pit one against the other. And maybe if what he's saying is the way it's going to be, maybe eventually we do away with the authority. And I want to see development in Harrison County. And I understand now that you do work hard. I'm just hearing it. I've not seen it, but I mean, I see the pictures. I do see all the ribbon cuttings and everything that you do. And I appreciate that. I'm sure people in Harrison County appreciate it. But that's just my, sorry, Patsy, that's just
No,
how.
Madam President, to tie into what you're saying, and please correct me, the EDA does have powers that the EDC doesn't have. So the two of you are a great two-headed monster. Right.
But can we do that? Can we at least try?
And if you'd like-
If there's something you can tell the authority or share with the authority, and maybe we do need to have meetings.
Madam President, if you'd like. at this
Every
time,
so often.
I'll withdraw my motion.
I mean, I think that may be the proper thing to do at this time.
And wow, Susan. I just want you to understand that Amy doesn't try or the board, but I can tell you, we work closely with that. Marion County Commissioners, they actually come and sit and ask questions. They
I'm
wanna-
telling you, I've got an education, but
they
I
want-
mean, I'm
they-
gonna sit here and
They
tell you,
want, they want us to take.
I've
their
admitted
oath.
to all this,
I mean, you don't have a better group. I mean, you just, it's.
but I don't know this.
But
I
you
don't
guys-
see
guys-
this.
But you won't, unless you want to get involved. They, Marion County didn't see it. I can tell you, Bobby and Ernie can't say enough about what we can do for them and how we have helped them. But I just want you to understand, we have helped Marion County, we have helped Lewis County. But these are the things that your authority doesn't even.
Well, we don't have, the authority
That's
does
not
not
their
have,
job.
well, they were the development until the corporation came along. But we didn't have I mean, I don't know what happened in the past. There was issues. I know we had somebody hired and there was an issue there, but I don't know what her role was. That
And we
was,
lost. when we-
I understand. I know that. I'm not gonna go there. I know we did, but we didn't have an Amy. Whoever that was not an Amy. It was not a director. I
Right.
believe she was just a glorified secretary. And there wasn't a lot that was done at that time. And if the corporation can move and the authority, I mean, we don't have anybody at the authority that can do what Amy and Luis do. We don't.
And the state relies on her. With the airport, she's overseeing a $10 million loan for the state of West Virginia because she's the lead person for Harrison County. They come to her we're involved in a $10 million loan. She's listed on the loan documents. The $25 million that we're gonna do at Pierpont, she is the lead for Harrison County for the development.
I mean, nothing personal, Amy, but it's the development corporation.
Yes,
It's the lead.
it's lead.
Okay. Like I said, I do appreciate what you guys do.
Just, it's,
But
there's a lot that goes on that the
But we need
public
to know.
never knows.
what we can, how's that? Okay. So you're withdrawing your motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Motion's been withdrawn on number 11. Is there any number 12, GSA update?
I have nothing to say about that today.
Does anybody else have anything they would like to bring up on the GSA?
Trey, are we getting closer to getting to have a mediation?
Yeah, the mediator's calendar was very full. The attorney from Pittsburgh has taken the lead on the scheduling. I'm not spending your all's money on it. So I don't have a date yet, but some dates are being passed around. So
Okay.
yes, we've agreed to the framework for the mediation. We've agreed to toll the claims until the mediation is completed plus a period of time. So yeah, we're making progress. It's just the mediator who was agreed to by the parties, his calendar was more crowded than we had hoped. So we may have to switch mediators candidly.
Okay, 'cause
I'd like, for us to try to get this settled before the end of the year, get close. With the mediation. Okay. I know the rest of it's gonna run into next year. No, I understand that.
Everything moves slow. Okay, anything else on number 12? Number 13, review, discuss, consider acquisition of Harrison Services LLC property interest of continuation of Harrison County Rail Trail as negotiated by county administrator with property owner per June 5th, 2024 meeting directive, potential executive session pursuant to 69A4B9 to consider matters involving or affecting the purchase, sale, or lease of property, advanced construction planning, the investment of public funds, or other matters involving commercial competition, which if made public might adversely affect the financial or other interest of the county.
I'll address it. So this is informational, and then we'll talk about action. Laura took the lead negotiating a deal with the owner of Harrison, this portion of the Harrison Services parcel which is needed. The proposed agreed upon price is down from $20,000 to $6,000 to acquire the landing for the bridge. To effectuate that, we will need to have a meets and bounds description stamped, prepared to attach to the deed. At that price, I would recommend that you all move forward at the $6,000 for acquisition of its 0.41 acres and give staff permission to close the deal.
Motion to approve as stated by the county attorney, please.
Question,
Sure.
one bridge abutment, correct?
We will own the parcel. This is to buy the 0.41 acre parcel in its entirety via deed.
To place a bridge above.
To place, whether it's called an abutment, a structure, to place the endpoint where the bridge crosses over from the other side of the West Fork River.
Do we own the other piece of property to get the bridge to there?
The DOH permitting process is started. I expect it to proceed quickly and without any hiccups, knock on wood.
Yeah.
But we have not finalized that process. The initial feedback has been 100% positive that we can make that happen.
So is there a reason we can't wait till we know for sure in case we have to move it and buy another piece?
There really isn't. It's a very limited window of parcels and crossing points in close proximity to the end of the CSX trail section, which was just acquired by the county.
But this isn't close to the CSX trail. We've got to build over 1,000 feet of new trail to get to this bridge, correct?
We do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's close to the terminus point. It's as close as we're gonna get in terms of a landing point, and it's really the best landing point to tie into the trail going north on the other side of the West Fork River.
Has a study been done and the state blessed the crossing of Route 19?
Has a study been done and the state blessed the crossing of Route 19?
Because you can't get to that bridge till you cross 19.
I haven't seen a study from the state, so no, I don't believe a formal study has been done to answer your question. But I think the county should go forward and acquire this parcel at this price because this is the logical path forward. It's another step in the chain.
But if the state doesn't agree to this crossing, then we'll never be there, correct?
That's correct. If they refuse to give us the rights, then we will not be there. But I think prudence shows us we have to build this, like it's like building a pipeline. You acquire pipeline rights, easements, segments, temporary construction easements, lay down yards, and a linear progression. That's what we're doing here.
So this is cheaper than having you condemn it.
This is way cheaper than going through the condemnation process. Yes.
And Rocky, you have that whole piece that's probably about 1.5 acres at $100. We're not buying all of it. You're just buying a section out of the middle of it for $6,000.
To even start the condemnation process, we have to get a formal appraisal. We have to make a best and final offer. We have to try to negotiate with the property owner. Then we have to go through the right of entry process. And only then can we really start the condemnation process with the condemnation commissioners. It's not.
So why are we buying all of it?
We're trying to be reasonable in the use. Part of it is still occupied by Harrison Services LLC. There's a warehouse on a section of it, and this sits at the closest point to what I would call the Northview tie-in to the road that goes down to the 0.41 acre parcel. So we're trying to tailor our use to the nature of the public project, which we are required to do as the public entity. You can't just take property which you don't really need. There has to be a just reason for the public use, and that was the theory behind the design of the 0.41 acres.
And is there a limitation before we want to own this as far as environmental goes?
There is not a limitation for environmental, and we discussed some of these issues in the last meeting. There are no contingencies. This is the county acquiring the property, pardon me, necessary to land the bridge.
And if Thrasher comes back, will they come back with, when will they come back with the, environmental?
You all have not directed me to go and get and have borings done and do.
We did that last week. We
Oh,
voted.
pardon me. I was thinking of it in the
No,
context of the
we
deed.
voted to do environmental and borings.
We did.
I don't know where, but we
did.
We voted
No,
to get it
correct.
done. I'm not sure what we're.
I think the
doing
borings,
environmental on.
they're mobilizing.
Should have been mobilized.
Okay,
They
pardon
were.
me.
They were.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay, call the question, Madam President.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, number 14, review, discuss, consider budget revision for assessor's office. He has two. One from, well, there's two, 406 from 406, 459. One goes to 406, 108, and 406, 212. What's pleasure?
Move to approve.
Motion to approve the two budget revisions, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Review, discuss, consider budget revision for the county clerk. Looks like they're all in 413. All from 103, one goes from 103 to 103, is that right? 413 to 106, and 413 to 108.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 16, review, discuss, consider budget revisions for circuit clerk. 403, 341 to 403, 221.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 17, discuss, consider access and remediation letter for Evelyn Swiger, 116 Mount Clair Road, Clarksburg, West Virginia. Do we know what we're doing here? Wanting to gain entry so we can,
Charlotte was supposed to be up here for this one. I'm not exactly sure where she is at, but this is an access and remediation letter. So what this is the property owner has accepted, the agreement that allows them in and demo the property or whatever needs done. And then they'll work with us for them to back the money that we have invested in tearing down.
So this is we'll tear it down and be paid back.
Yeah.
Is that part of does she sign that to, I was gonna say it back? I'm trying to look through, I didn't see anything in.
I don't recall there ever being anything specific in this agreement of $100 a month for the next 10 years.
Trey, how's that work?
So by virtue of the work, we get a lien. We could in theory go to collect the lien. What we have done in some agreements historically is actually build in a monthly payment.
Right.
Going through this agreement, I do not see a monthly payment by the property owner
Yeah, I didn't
within
see
the
one.
agreements.
I didn't, that's why you caught me off guard.
I'm
I
sorry.
didn't see anything for payment back.
Is there an agreement for this Mount Clair Road?
Yes, there is. She's wanting us to, what the agreement is allowing us to enter her property. So we may take asbestos testing so that we will eventually tear down the house with the DEP money.
Is she gonna pay?
Yes,
Oh, okay. Do we have an agreement for the payment? That's.
We haven't decided on how it's all gonna get paid back. But yes, the agreement does say that she will pay it back.
So when we'll call this access remediation. That besides wanting to enter the property, you want to remediate asbestos if you find it, or to tear the property.
Both.
Madam President, I'll make the motion to follow the lead of the director and clear the
Move forward.
property off.
So the motion's made to move forward with the access and remediation letter.
Yes.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Number 18, review, discuss, consider awarding the bid for the next set of DEP demolition structures, batch 2.
I did not. I gave it to Mackenzie to put on the agenda.
They don't have it.
Here's a list of the different bids for property.
How many of them are there? Madam Administrator?
No. Yeah, there's 11, that's the 11 structures we approved.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And what
Yes.
means what? Yeah.
Yes, this is the second round of the
Reclaim is the,
right. Reclaim was the lowest bidder.
Mhm.
And they are also the ones that are taking down the first bunch of houses.
Okay. Can you please give me the list of the third batch?
Yes, I will send that to you.
Thank you.
Trey, you've seen the contract and we've got all their insurances and everything for reclaim.
Yes, it's also a fixed price contract. It does not allow for change orders, and that point has been made clear to the vendor expressly.
Madam Administrator, will you let me know when that third batch goes out to bid? Thank you. Motion to move forward.
with reclaim,
Approve, please.
Yeah, motion to move reclaim, was it 91?
91.3.
91.3.
Okay, motion's been made to go with Reclaim Company at $91,300.
How many houses is that?
11.
11.
Those are the
Add
ones
that
we
to
voted.
the agenda, the motion, the 11 houses.
Okay, the
Okay.
11 structures. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. 19,
The one thing I have for today is the pretty good news. Gina back in March, April timeframe submitted a grant. We want Senator Manchin's office for the congressional funding. That grant, she submitted 2, but the one that has so far been approved to move on to the next level is for the animal control facility.
great.
The total cost that she put in for the grant was 2.9, and the award to move forward is 2.5 million. There is for construction of this animal control facility. So I think that's pretty good news. Now it goes on to the committee, and I hope the committee passes it, and then I'll move on to the budget.
Great. Mr. Treehouse?
The only thing I have is, Madam Administrator, if you could please share your contact information with these 2 young ladies from Salem. You know, we have no authority over what the city of Salem votes on or doesn't vote on. We, of course, as a commission, don't want to, but get with the administrator, ask Mr. Rock to please, and make sure, it is important to us that we do want to make sure that everybody in our county gets the services that they need. We understand that minutes save lives. And believe me, we are in the business of serving people, and that's very important to us.
I apologize. I forgot that. I just now remembered that was one of the agendas of items that were taken.
I thought it was on the agenda.
It was taken off.
Okay, I didn't know.
And I had forgot
I
that
actually
until just
told
now.
somebody that it was on the agenda this weekend, and I'm sorry. I make mistakes all the time, and I'm gonna make more. But this young lady here represents us here at the courthouse, and she also has great communication with the other individual that I'm asking to meet with you and satisfy any need or concern you may have, because, you know, it's not my world. So let's make sure that we get people that live in that world to make sure that people like us know what we're doing, what's best for our citizens. That's all I have, Madam President. That's up to her.
Sure. I mean, make it quick. Are you done yet?
Says tennis match over. We just wanted to thank the commission for hearing us out today. And if this is something that we will get with the appropriate people to talk about this. With what we have learned and with our last night's decision to rescind our vote, we are trying everything we can do to get our EMS services started back up again. At this time, we're seeking funds to help subsidize our EMS, and the city of Salem, as of June 1st, we're over budget. And so anything that the county commission can do and look into to help subsidize will not only help the city of Salem EMS, but this will also help Harrison County and Doddridge County. As you know, is currently with our EMS being closed, Harrison County and Doddridge County is picking up those extra calls and transports, leaving your citizens short for your emergencies. So anything that you can do to help us at this time would be greatly
And one
appreciated.
thing I can tell you, and I know my time, there's $1.2 billion.
Could you say it one more time? I'm so-
$1.2 billion right now. It's floating out there for people to apply for and show their need and their purpose. Go get it, girl.
Okay, and what is that through? Can you,
Girl, what is Jonathan Ward's title?
That's opioid.
Yeah,
through the opioid crisis money?
EMS.
I don't know if it wouldn't. David said it wouldn't, so I'm sorry.
That's opioid, that's for programs for, to
Okay.
help people with drug addiction and to educate people on drugs. Yours is gonna be more some other areas. I think Susan and I, we had met somebody yesterday and maybe there's 2 state senators. You need to talk to them. They have discretionary funding. Both of them do, that they can award to our county, and then we can turn around and award back to you. So there's that. And I want to apologize, but I try not to step on feet, and I don't know if it's my turn to talk. But
You just made it. You just made it.
Yeah, I'm all done.
I mean,
I'm all done.
I originally Patsy was who they interviewed, and so I stepped aside and on this project, I think that you all need to meet with Rick Rock. I don't know how many calls have been made. Last week it was 7, with so many this week. The ambulance authority is, I mean, not the ambulance authority, the county, Rick has already figured out what the cost is to go down and man your town, and I understand why you're broke, because he figures it's gonna cost him between $600,000 and $800,000. And he's gonna be looking to us if we want to put an ambulance down there. And we've got that same issue in other parts of the county where we don't service on a scale that the citizens would like. And I think the commission will have to sit down and look at the dollar amount that it takes to run one. And I think the ambulance authority needs to meet as soon as possible to discuss emergency services for you all and for other parts of the county. But I listened to your meeting. I was a little disappointed when where he said he wanted to place your money instead of keeping it with the EMS. That was a little eye-opening for me. And I know you guys worked hard to get it. I know the county EMS really does not want that to take over you all, because it's very hard for them. They try to keep their calls, believe it or not, to under 50 minutes round trip from the time they go out, go to the hospital, get back off. And there's lots of issues besides just driving. once they get to the hospital, which issues. So I think, Susan, when we talked about a work session on whether you want to do one for the property, I think we need to, but I really think we need to, as commissioners, sit down and look hard at the EMS services that, how we can help improve those. And I think, bring in the affected parties, and I know the ambulance authority is supposed to do some of that, but I think when we're getting down to the dollars, that's gonna come out of our pocket. And whether or not we can help subsidize some of this, but it's I understand your concern, and I understand you need water and sewer, so I mean, you guys are getting hit every which way to say it.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we can help you solve those problems.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I've said my piece, so. Motion to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Meeting's over, but you can speak.
Can we set up a work session for, coordinate that